me explain, right? This is like, this shit is horrendous. I think that it has rapidly become one of the worst matchups in the game, not just a bad matchup, right? A lot of Soriz' stuff, Soriz' whole game plan, and it's a very strong game plan. I think Soriz is like a better character than Ladiva overall, right? And Ladiva's quite good. Like, you know, +1. +1, right? And again, outside of close L range a lot of the time, right? This is, so he +1. He has a 6-frame close M, right? But yeah, +1. +1, right? I mean, this is +4, so that's, he can actually do real stuff off of that, right? But like, you know, a lot of his shit is being slightly minus, right? Which this, I mean, this is, you're in a 50-50 with SPD. And what the buffs did, basically, is even this, you're in a 50-50 to SPD, right? Because if you don't know, but basically what the math is here, if Soriz is even in close M range, like here, you know, he's in close M range. I think in the corner he might be in, no, he's never in close L range, yeah. It's like, if he's in close M range, the fastest thing he can do here, his 2L is 6, his close M is 6, he might as well close M, right? He's +1. This essentially means that his close M is a 5-frame button, right? Because you can think about, it's 6 frames, he's +1, right? SPD is also in this patch, a 5-frame button. The unfortunate part is that command grabs have priority over everything, right? They have priority over everything in the video game unless it's invincible, basically. If a throw and a command grab hit on the same frame and no one has invul, the command grab wins. If any normal in the game, anything in the game, hits on the same frame as a command grab and no one has invul, the command grab wins. So what happens is if Soriz does something like this, very normal Soriz pressure, right? Wait, am I wrong? There you go. Yeah, I just did it too slow. So yeah, the math works. Yeah, Soriz can't do this. You know? His close M hits me on the exact same frame that I hit him, which means he loses. Now, you might notice that out of this, okay, sure, so close M is 6 frames. He's not in, close L could work, but he's not in close L distance after this, right? It pushes him, the proximity on lights is smaller than the proximity on heavies and mediums, right? So, he can't get close L. His 2L is 6 frames, same problem. His far L is 7 frames, even worse problem, right? Soriz has to do this. That would beat command grab, right? But this is also, if he gets this blocked, it's a punish, right? In my face. Or, at this point, Soriz has to spend his cooldown and then do this. He has to backdash away on his own pressure, right? Now again, if he does that, right? If he does that, then my command grab whiffs and he gets a full punish. But like, say that he doesn't, for example, right? Say that Soriz just spends this cooldown to get plus frames, does this, and is now just like -18 on the other side of the screen here, right? It's really bad for him. Exact same scenario here, except this one's even fucking worse, because he doesn't even have close M here, right? So Soriz has literally like nothing that even resembles a feasible option. Again, 2L, sure, same problem, right? I can show you. I like to show and not tell, right? Same problem. If Soriz does, let me actually block it. If he does this and 2Ls, he loses, right? So, and there, you can't tech this, you can't do anything. So his own offense puts him in the SPD 50-50. Now, sure, he can guess, right? But do you know what else happens if Soriz does something? Say Soriz does something like this, right? He does this into that, right? Right, backdash is not safe, necessarily. Right, like, if he's now on his own plus frames, he gets full combos, right? I can't get close M here, but like, you know, on his own plus frames, motherfucker's getting full comboed now, right? So, it really, really doesn't work well into his offense, right? Like, Ladiva is very good into his offense. Opting into getting 50-50, exactly. And then, on defense, I mean, Soriz doesn't have a meterless DP, which is a problem in and of itself, and his 5U loses to command grab, right? So even, like, the thing that he has as, like, a pseudo meterless reversal, right, loses to command grab. And then, in the mid-range, I mean, Soriz is just about as slow as Ladiva is, right? Ladiva does not have bad buttons. So the reason Ladiva gets bullied by everyone in the mid-range is because her walk speed is quite bad, right? So her ability, like, her buttons aren't amazing. 2M's pretty fucking good. But otherwise, her buttons aren't, like, amazing or anything, but, like, they're not the reason that she gets bullied so hard in the mid-range. It's her speed, right? Her buttons are fine to good, this being probably great, actually. But everything else is, like, fine to good, right? To ass, in the case of something like this. Rest in peace, Panini. But the problem is that her walk speed is so bad that most characters can kind of, like, dance circles around her in the mid-range and they kill her, right? Soriz has almost the same problem. I think he's a little faster, right? But Soriz has almost the same speed, right? So again, he can't use his like big neutral skips because they put him in a 50-50, and he's not even necessarily beating the breaks off Ladiva in the mid-range either, right? He's better, certainly. Like, his far H is better, right? His far M's a little better. His 2M is, like, in many ways, it's better than hers as well, right? 7 frames, I think a little smaller, right? Not a low, but 6 active frames. But again, like, these guys are fighting each other, like, seriously in the mid-range, right? So it's slight advantage Soriz here, right? Honestly, on his own offense, it's like, it's not nearly, like, the risk reward is incredibly against him, considering this should be his win condition, and he sucks here, right? This has become straight up one of the worst matchups in the game, actually, right? And I've beaten Sorizes that are way better than me, right? Way better than me. That I couldn't have beaten last patch, right? But it is just, this is a nightmare, right? This is a nightmare. Like, this is a nightmare button for Soriz. This is, yeah. So, like, this is one of the worst matchups in the game, point blank, period, basically. I don't know how bad it is exactly, right? Put in the numbers to it and stuff like that. It's always, is it 7-3? Is it 6-4? But this is, like, heavy advantage Ladiva, right? In almost every way, right? This is heavy advantage Ladiva. It's not, not like, oh, it's like slightly right? I've got like 3 to 4 matches against Soriz players. My takeaway as a Ladiva player was I bet this would really suck to deal with if it wasn't Ladiva. Yeah, Soriz is really good, right? This whole game plan is incredibly strong, right? But like, not against Ladiva, right? Not against Ladiva. Vaseraga gives him a lot of trouble for a different reason, right? Vas gives him a lot of trouble just because Soriz doesn't really have any good way to deal with the armor, and Vas is in armor all the goddamn time now. And Soriz is also not necessarily... Like, Soriz's game plan is not very... Soriz, I do think that Soriz can certainly... He can try and, like, just sit on Vaseraga's face and never let him get armor, right? But it's like, once Soulforge is up there, Soriz really is one of the worst characters in the game at dealing with it. He just doesn't really have an option for it. And he doesn't have the same kind of options that a lot of characters can try to have against Vaseraga. 2-1-4 is too slow to break armor. I mean, it's a multi-hit, but, like, again... Yeah, like, if Vas is... You know, if we know Soriz is gonna do this, right? Like... It's just there's too much too much gap generally, right? And even then, right? This thing is, it's not exactly like he's gonna be like throwing an EX fireball from full screen, right? So he does have a lot of trouble dealing with Soulforge. Similarly, right? Again, grappler, so he does struggle like this, right? Is really difficult. Like this was the command grabs and stuff like that. But yeah, he's not very good at dealing with Soulforge, and he's not very good at stopping Vaseraga from getting Soulforge. Now I will say, right? Soriz does have an advantage against Vas that he doesn't have against almost anyone, right? I do think the Ladiva matchup is worse, probably, because Vaseraga is kind of the opposite of Ladiva in a lot of cases, where, you know, being -1 against Vas is kind of nice, right? Like, actually, in this case, it doesn't really matter. Like, because Vas's best match option is a 6-frame button with 0 attack level, right? Like, for example, if Soriz does this, right, he's +1. If he far L's, this will, I'm pretty sure this will beat Vaseraga's 2L, right? Vaseraga's best match option being a 2L. 2Ls, if you don't know, they have 0 clash level, right? When I say clash level, a normal light has 1, a normal medium has 2, a normal heavy has 3, a 6xh has 4, a DP has 5, I guess a DP doesn't really have one, but you know, a DP has 5, a super has 6, and an SSBA has 7, right? So... What that means is, if 2 moves of the same clash level intersect, in this case we can do like Soriz far H and like Vas far M, because his far M, yeah, right? If 2 moves of the same clash level intersect, that happens, right? If a move of a higher clash level intersects with one of a lower clash level, let me try and time this here. Actually, it'd be easier if Soriz does this, because Vas is too big, he's blocking the screen. If we have like, Soriz is gonna do far H, and Vas is gonna do far L, right? Oh, wait, no. Wait. Timing is a little bit finicky because they're different speeds. Yeah, you see Crush right there? Crush that popped up next to Soriz? If a move of a higher clash level hits a move of a lower clash level, it just ignores it, right? It goes straight through it and kills it. So, you know, like lights, Vaseraga is a bad example because like this is actually a medium, this is actually a heavy, this is actually a 6xh. He's 1-up on everything, right? But like, you know, if a light runs into a medium, it dies, right? The medium just ignores it and keeps going. Assuming the hitboxes clash, right? If a medium runs into a heavy, it dies. If a heavy runs into a 6xh, it dies. If a 6xh runs into a DP, it dies, right? 2Ls are a special case of this, where we mentioned that lights are clash level 1, 2Ls, universally, are clash level 0. Which means that even lights that aren't 2Ls will crush a 2L, right? So what I mean by this is if Soriz does that, right, and Voss smashes 2L... Oh, he's +1, actually. I want him to be -1. Yeah, -1. No, wait, no. No, +1 is right. Yeah, +1 is right because then they'll hit on the same frame, right? That'll be a 6-framer? Yeah, +1's correct, yeah. I do want him to be +1. I just have to hit the button as fast as I can. Am I not having doing it? Hold up. I just need to match it out as fast as possible. And then, yeah, crush, right? There you go, my bad, goddamn. It took me a second to get there, right? But Vaseraga, basically, in these exact same +1 on block scenarios, he doesn't have a mash option that beats Soriz, right? Now, of course, you'll notice, right, +1, 7 frames, that's a 6-frame gap. So what Voss can do is this, right? So he certainly has options, right? It's not like he doesn't have options, right? But again, like this is significantly, this is not nearly, it's a little bit riskier in general to throw out. Because in that case, if Soriz, for example, does... actually, what? Does Close M lose to this? Close M might lose to this. Let me have Soriz... I think it's hitting on the same frame, right? Yeah. So Soriz definitely does have to respect, like, U battalions at that point. You'd have to do something like, you know, this, right? Then that'll beat U battalions and kill Vaseraga. Difference is, right? Voss, if he blocks this, right? Depending on the spacing on it, his 2L is his only option, right? So if it's like a little further out and he blocks this shit where his 2L might not reach, it's gonna be a problem for him, right? But yeah, point being that I don't think this is as bad as Ladiva. Certainly, when Vaseraga gets going like this, Soriz is going to be in big danger, right? But I think Vaseraga is bullyable on offense in a way that basically no other character is, basically, right? And because this is his best sort of mash option, right? Vaseraga would have this problem if her 2L was not like the god button, right? Vaseraga has a very similar issue, where Vaseraga's 5L, right? 7 frames, her 2Ls are only 6-framer. Same problem, Soriz could do the same thing to her, except this button is also just plus on block, and like, yeah, it's significantly better, right? So it's much better as a match pool than Vaseraga's, but she has a similar sort of problem, right? Now, I'm not saying that makes the matchup winning. I think overall, Vaseraga definitely does beat up Soriz pretty bad this patch. I would have argued that because of this, it probably was winning last patch, but Vaseraga is just so much, he's just so much stronger now, right? Like everything, his neutral is better than Soriz's, his offense is even more, his defense, like his reward on defense, like if you do get hit by a U tackle like this, you're eating even more damage than you used to last patch because of this fucking thing, right? So like in general, Vaseraga definitely wins the matchup, but I think Ladiva is probably worse, even though she's not as good of a character as Vaseraga is, just because of the fact that Soriz's offense like doesn't function against the big grappler lady, right? Easier to get into his win con and better trades. Yeah, like Voss still wins for sure, but it is, I think Ladiva is worse for Soriz than Vaseraga is personally.